British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's authority to fight his country's record coronavirus infections has suffered a serious blow. Johnson's Conservative Party suffered a crushing defeat in a central England by-election. The Liberal Democrat Party won that seat that has been held by the Conservatives for more than a century. The defeat is being seen as a protest vote against Johnson's handling of coronavirus restrictions and allegations that members of his government did not respect their own rules. The UK, which had largely dropped rules and restrictions, is now debating the best way forward as the Omicron variant looks to take over.
Church services replaced by the military, who are helping to administer booster shots across the UK. Over 18s are being encouraged to get their third shot as soon as possible in the fight against the new Omicron variant. There's enough supply, but there's a shortage of space. Museums are turning into pop-up vaccine centers to ease the demand on hospitals.
It's made sense to get it done as soon as possible.
It's really important for me to feel comfortable seeing my family at Christmas.
Coronavirus cases are doubling every 2 days thanks to Omicron. It's now the dominant variant in London. Daily cases are the highest they've been since the start of the pandemic. The UK's chief medical advisor warned lawmakers that this is just the beginning.
What's the current R value?
Where we're going over the next couple of weeks, the rate of increase is going to be, I think, fairly impressive. It is sensible for people to cut down on work or other interactions with people, including potentially social ones, which are less important to them, so that they reduce their chances of catching COVID and indeed reduce their chances of passing it on.
But Prime Minister Boris Johnson has other ideas.
We're not saying that we want to cancel stuff. We're not locking stuff down. And the fastest route back to normality is to get boosted.
Johnson is relying instead on masks and vaccine and testing mandates. At larger events like football matches, they still allow spectators. You just need proof of vaccination or a negative test.
We'd eventually have to watch it at home, and that's maybe not as good as coming into the ground.
Introducing even these light restrictions was no easy feat.
What Stalinist minds thought up consistently over.
The Conservative Party faces an internal power struggle. Some of Johnson's own colleagues are rebelling against him. His authority weakened by scandal.
Is the party over for you now, Prime Minister?
Even before Thursday's by-election defeat, Johnson's political room to act was shrinking, potentially worsening the virus impact. The UK hospitalizations are slowly increasing. The only good news is that so far death rates are not.
I'm joined now from London by DW correspondent Charlotte Chelsom-Pill. Charlotte, normally a by-election like this wouldn't make headlines here, but why is this particular loss for the Conservatives significant?
Well, this is absolutely stunning for the Conservative Party, the party of Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Just to really put this into context for you, Abby, this is the first time in almost 200 years that a party other than the Conservatives have won this seat. This is a very rural area, and interestingly here, this is a Brexit voting area, and they have just decided that the party that brought them Brexit, the Conservative Party of Boris Johnson, is no longer for them. Absolutely stunning results there. They overturned a majority of nearly 23,000 seats that Conservative lawmaker had prior to this by-election. Stunning results there. Now, one of the reasons that it's being looked at so closely, not just here in the UK, but internationally as well, is that this is being viewed by a lot of people as a referendum on the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson. He has suffered a number of scandals over the last few weeks, and many people are framing this as a judgment on those scandals from the British public. Indeed, that is exactly what the lawmaker from the opposition Lib Dem party said when she won that by-election. Take a listen.
Tonight, the people of North Shropshire have spoken on behalf of the British people. They've said loudly and clearly, Boris Johnson, the party is over. Your government, run on lies and bluster, will be held accountable. It will be scrutinised, it will be challenged, and it can and will be defeated. Our country is crying out for leadership. Mr Johnson, you are no leader. Tonight, the people of North Shropshire have said enough is enough. They have said that you are unfit to lead and that they want a change.
So you can hear there, she said the party of Boris Johnson can and will be defeated. And it's exactly those comments after this stunning result that will be listened to by members of the Conservative Party, fearing that perhaps Boris Johnson isn't the electoral winning ticket they once thought he was.
And Charlotte, if he's not the electoral winning ticket that they once thought he was, is this the moment now that Boris Johnson loses the support from within his own party?
Well, there have been rumblings of that over the past few weeks, as I say, because of this number of scandals that have engulfed the Conservative Party. Just to list a few, the Member of Parliament who stepped down, triggering this by-election, stepped down because he was found guilty of breaking lobbying laws. There have also been these allegations that you and I have talked about, Abby, about Conservative officials partying when there were COVID restrictions in place. The Prime Minister himself has been wrapped up in one of those allegations of a gathering during a lockdown. On top of that, the Prime Minister has seen the biggest rebellion this week of his premiership so far. 100 of his own MPs voted against him when new restrictions were brought in for fighting COVID. So as you can see there, real intense pressure on the Prime Minister at the moment, and that is only building. Now, the governments will say that they need to get on with the job, but a number of Conservative MPs will be wondering, is Prime Minister Boris Johnson the man to do it?
Charlotte, before I let you go, what does this mean now for the pandemic outlook in the UK? We know that the Omicron variant is spreading quickly, and as you said, his own backbenchers went against the measures that have now been implemented. How can he move forward here?
Well, as I say, the Prime Minister and spokespeople for the Prime Minister will say this is exactly why he needs to get on with the job, because of the pressure that the health service particularly is under at the moment with this surge in COVID cases. Now, as a result of the Omicron variant, which is now dominant here in London, expected to become dominant in the coming days nationally, there are fears that the health service will be overwhelmed. We're hearing that there is going to be a tidal wave of cases. The last 2 days have seen record-breaking numbers. That's crucial context to this pressure that the Prime Minister is facing.
DW correspondent Charlotte Chalsom-Pill reporting from London. Thank you, Charlotte.